Right, I'm going to talk today about 3 things I wish I knew before I changed my golf swing. Anyone out there trying to change their golf swing, you're going to need to know these things. So here at Praia del Rey, it's a little misty, or a lot misty, but we're very early starting, beautiful par 3, the ocean just over here.
Hear the waves crashing.
I've changed my golf swing quite dramatically. I'm going to share some ideas of what I found that, and I'm sure these are things that you hear your students say when we get to them. When you change things, people, you know.
Definitely, and what I've experienced throughout growing up as well.
Yeah.
Like you do these things that you're about to talk about.
So the first point, which sounds so obvious, is it takes a lot of work.
Blood, sweat and tears.
Like, a lot of work. Loads more than I think people give it credit sometimes.
It's a tough game, isn't it?
Yeah, like to try and change a movement pattern, something that you do naturally. I think I used to say to people, an analogy I used to use when I taught a lot, and people were like, oh, I'm not sure I can change that. I used to say to them, which fork, knife and fork, which hand do you hold them in? Most people hold the fork in the left and the knife in the right is the common way around of doing it. Why that is, I don't know, but so many people do it that way. If you switch them round, you wouldn't starve to death.
No, it would just take longer to eat.
You would just feel awkward until a week, a month, 2 months before it. Then you switching back the other way would feel wrong, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You got to really commit to the hurt and the pain and the struggle, haven't you? That's the thing. You've got to think, you know, I do really want to. I'm going to put up with this feeling awful.
Yeah. But I do think as well, it can be pretty quick for lots of people.
Yeah, subject to what you're changing. I agree with you. It's not all doom and gloom, but I think if you're changing a major movement pattern, there's definitely going to be a little bit of, look, you know, you're going to, and the other thing as well, you've got to get used to things shifting. So one skill might be that you can do X, Y, or Z really well, hit the driver really well, and you're trying to improve your irons. You start improving them, but your driver starts going off. Yeah. That's golf. It's just constantly balancing, and you've got to accept that those challenges are going to be kind of in front of you.
Definitely.
And that leads me on to the next point, which is so key. I see so many people trying to change their swing, and they're like governed purely just to say like a 7-iron. You've got to make these movements across all of your golf. I've just rolled that. Even your putter. Against all your golf clubs, haven't you?
I think that's so key because each club has different impacts and things like that, doesn't it? So those movements might have to be tiny bit tweaked or whatever for driver, say, compared to your iron. So definitely practicing with each type of club is really beneficial.
That's embarrassing. In.
Oh, God, I've ripped it.
Because each club as well, like you say, you have a different ball position, different width of stance. You'll have a different feeling of how much you're turning. So if it's a movement pattern from face, for me, moving my hips, doing it with a wedge, to doing it with a hybrid, to doing it with a driver, it makes loads of sense of a driver, like just rip it back and go for it. But you start giving me like a half 9-iron or a 3/4 9-iron, it's a shot I like to hit, does it still work or not? And that takes a lot of time and effort, making sure. I used to do it with students all the time. They just come to the range just with a 7-iron, they're drilling the movement. No, come on.
Yeah,
it's got to be a driver as well. There's no point in feeling great with a 7-iron, you're picking a driver up and it feels awful. And to be fair, I do think some golf coaches are scared to work with people's drivers.
Yeah.
I hate that. Just
What's
golfers
the problem?
need to get their drivers working. Get them doing the motions with all clubs, golf coaches. I know lots of good ones are, but I had so many students come to me saying, never hit a driver with my last coach.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You're telling me it's your worst club? Yeah, he said if you do it with a 7-iron, he used to say, I'll be, no. Different setups. Get through your clubs. Last point. This one's important as well, certainly for lots of golfers who are maybe slightly maturer. Don't know what you're giggling at. Like, changes to movement patterns can cause aches and pains.
Definitely.
And that didn't make, for me in my movement patterns, it didn't make me stop, it made me make sure I did stuff between golf.
Like fitness.
Stretching, fitness. I didn't want to not make the change because my body was like said, well, you've done that other way for 30 years, why are we doing it this way now?
Yeah.
Like, that's the that's such a lazy, for me personally, that's like a, no, am I really that weak now
Yeah.
as an older person?
It's basically like taking a new sport up, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
you went surfing recently on
Oh,
your
and my
holiday,
arms hurt for like a month
yeah,
afterwards. I was
bang.
still struggling to do push-ups because it
Yeah.
hurt so much on my shoulders. And again, that wouldn't stop me surfing or falling. I fell off surfboards more than rode them, but I still enjoyed it. It made me think, oh yeah, I need to make sure when I go there, I warm up way more than I was doing.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
cool down more than I was doing.
Yeah.
Like you saw the pro surfer or the better experienced surfers come, and they were stood on the beach for a good 15 minutes, like properly stretching. And
Yeah.
I was like,
What?
off I go. So if a movement pattern does make your left ankle start to hurt, right ankle start to hurt, because I just did a few swings where I was trying to play with my verticals and I kept this ankle straighter, and you know, for a couple of weeks it was like, cool, that's really making that ache. That didn't make me stop doing that, something else did, as in it wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. If I needed to persevere with that, I'd have just got that ankle in a place where it could handle that movement. So don't be afraid if you start getting a few aches and pains, but do consult, you know, professional advice if it is lingering, because they'll be able to tell you, look, you're getting it because you're doing X, Y, and Z. You need to do these stretches. My dad's a great example, loves golf. He's older, obviously, doesn't want to stop. He's pretty active, pretty fit, but he gets awful tennis elbow. Rather than whinging about it, he's now got bands he does all the time. He's trying.
And it's not a
to
bad
manage it.
thing to be doing some exercise, is
I
it?
love it. Like,
Yeah.
my body is going that way,
Yeah.
and I'm doing everything I can to try and just level it off.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's actually quite a lot of fun. So just manage these changes, enjoy them. I think you've got so much you can still give. I see so many people struggling to manage changes, run away from them. You know, it didn't work with this club, didn't work with that club, body started hurting, all these things. They can be managed, but it's gonna be a good old job, like a big fix. Good luck.